morning, America. Breaking overnight, fire and floods across the South. Extreme record-breaking flooding in Texas. The life-threatening emergency right now as wildfires rage in the Carolinas. Thousands of acres scorched. Plus, the incoming cross-country storm. Sam Champion is tracking it all.
Also breaking overnight, rescue efforts are now underway after a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck Bangkok.
Vice President Vance and the Second Lady's visit to Greenland, as President Trump makes it clear the U.S. aims to take control.
We'll go as far as we have to go. We need Greenland.
The reaction this morning.
King Charles briefly hospitalized after he experienced side effects from his ongoing cancer treatment. What we know about his condition.
International students targeted for arrest and deportation. A PhD student at the University of Alabama detained. Federal agents placed a Tufts University doctoral student in handcuffs, leading her away. What the Trump administration is saying about the crackdown.
In court, the Maui doctor accused of trying to throw his wife off a cliff, facing a judge for the first time.
Flaming out? What ex-convict creator Billy McFarland is saying about the Fire Festival reboot as he changes venues weeks before the event.
23andMe dilemma. The fate of the DNA testing company uncertain after it unlocked so much joy for my family.
Wow.
All eyes, of course, on Greenland this morning as VP Vance lands. We are there live.
And we begin with a flash flood emergency declared overnight in parts of southern Texas, inundated by those torrential downpours, some measuring more than a foot of rain. Sam Champion is here just back from Asheville in for Ginger, tracking this record-breaking flooding. Sam.
So a frightening and dangerous night in a large area of South Texas. Let's get to it. I'm going to show you some video that you're really not going to believe. More than 50 water rescues from this. Some of this started in the afternoon and evening hours, so you can see the water growing. The overnight images are even more frightening. Look at this. Lives completely interrupted by 14 inches of rain in some area, 50 water rescues. We're talking about, let me just give you an idea. The river that runs through Harlingen is normally right around 5 feet. It's now at 30 feet. So it has never been there before. It's been to 24 feet, its highest ever, and it flooded then. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen in this area. Now, where does this rain go? I want to show you that the training rain, these thunderstorms that are coming out of Mexico and running over that area, continue. But the bulk of this rain does move in toward Louisiana in this area. So we're a little concerned about what flooding might happen in the southern area of Louisiana. So we want to keep our eye on that. From one extreme to another, we're going to move to the California wildfires. We were just in Asheville as the smoke really heavy moved into that area in Asheville, Carolina. So North Carolina, one of the things I want to talk about is the fire danger there, the extreme dryness. Let's get more from Faith Abube on the scene in Pickens, South Carolina. Faith, that smoke is heavy and we need to let people know they shouldn't be breathing it in this morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Sam. In fact, they're giving away these masks at the airport when you land in Asheville. But take a look behind me over the trees there, the billowing smoke in the mountains, the Table Rock fire expanding dramatically, more than 600% in just the last several days, and now threatening to jump the border into North Carolina. This morning, millions on high alert as wildfires rage in parts of the Carolinas.
There was ashes falling on us, and the helicopters were hovering over.
30 miles southeast of Asheville, the Black Cove complex now deemed the highest priority fire across the entire country. Nearly 7,000 acres scorched.
The fire did come right here and burnt one house plumb to the ground.
So do you feel you're still in danger?
Yes, for sure, until it rains.
The concern is until they're contained, we have to be on alert. So the fire, they're out there fighting the fires today.
This as the Table Rock complex in South Carolina grew significantly Thursday. So far, more than 1,400 homes and businesses evacuated. And with the Table Rock fire is 0% contained, but officials tell me some of the containment lines are holding, especially in those critical areas where there are many homes and lives on the line. Whit.
Yeah, still so many on alert there. Faith Abube, thank you. We turn now to the breaking news overseas. A powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake rocking Bangkok. Our foreign correspondent Britt Clennett is tracking the latest for us. Britt, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this was a very strong 7.7 magnitude earthquake, which struck Myanmar and rattled the Thai capital city of Bangkok, where 70 construction workers are now missing when a high-rise building collapsed to the ground. This 30-story skyscraper was still under construction, and dozens of those workers are now reportedly trapped under the rubble. At least one was killed, dozens injured, we believe. First responders are still working very hard to rescue who they can, pulling injured workers out on stretchers. Video also out of Bangkok showing how the shaking actually caused water from high-rise pools to cascade to the ground like waterfalls. You can also see people there frantically running out of buildings into crowds on the street. The epicenter was in Myanmar, where there's, of course, a civil war raging on, making it very hard to get information on the damage and really complicating emergency responses too. Our producer there saying the destruction is widespread and the expected casualty numbers should be high, with reports of devastated buildings, a hospital with patients inside reportedly torn to the ground. Bangkok and parts of Myanmar are now in a state of emergency, and fears of aftershocks still a reality as the true scale of the damage becomes more clear. Lindsay.
All right, Britt, just unbelievable images there. Thank you. Now to Vice President Vance and his wife Usha Vance on a visit to Greenland as President Trump insists that its territory should become part of the U.S. Our senior national correspondent Terry Moran is on the scene there for us in Greenland. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Lindsay. Well, Vice President Vance arrives at that American air base this afternoon, and people are rattled. A lot of people laughed when he declared that the U.S. will take over Greenland. Now they know he's serious, and many see this trip as anything but friendly. This morning, Vice President J.D. Vance and the Second Lady will touch down in Greenland for a trip that's seen here as far more than a friendly visit. Vance's trip to a U.S. Space Force base in the far north of Greenland comes as President Trump makes clear the U.S. aims to take control here.
We need Greenland for national security and international security. So I think we'll go as far as we have to go. We need Greenland.
Greenland is an independent territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. Rich in rare earth minerals, the island is also strategically positioned to counter rivals like Russia and China, who have both been building up a military presence in the Arctic.
The world needs us to have Greenland, including Denmark. Denmark has to have us have Greenland. And, we'll see what happens. But if we don't have Greenland, we can't have great international security.
Trump has repeatedly raised the possibility of purchasing Greenland or taking it over, quote, one way or the other. The Danish Prime Minister firing back, saying Greenland belongs to Greenlanders. Greenland's Prime Minister adamant, saying we are not for sale, and calling today's visit by the Vice President highly aggressive. Here in Nuuk, Greenland's capital, you can hear the concern about what all this might mean. Do you think this is pressure on you guys, though?
Yeah, it's very much.
Yeah, for everybody. Second Lady Usha Vance had at first planned to attend a dog sled race and promote cultural ties, but those plans were dropped as the criticisms mounted. Many people here do want to see a deeper, enhanced relationship with the U.S. There's a lot of resentment against Denmark, but an American takeover of Greenland? Polls show and conversations confirm most people reject that. Rebecca?
All right, Terry, some big questions there. Thank you. We turn now to mass layoffs at the Department of Health and Human Services. 10,000 workers are set to lose their jobs on top of thousands who accepted buyouts. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, is tracking this all from the White House. Good morning, Rachel.
Rebecca, good morning to you. And all of this part of a massive overhaul by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We've learned that as soon as today, about 10,000 employees with the Department of Health and Human Services could be laid off. Overall, the agency expected to cut 20,000, half of those buyouts and early retirements, the other half expected to be laid off. But the bottom line here, that's nearly a quarter of the workforce of the agency gone. Now, Kennedy insists this is going to make them more productive and also ultimately save the government about $2 billion a year. But others warn that these cuts will come at a cost to critical programs. So take, for instance, the CDC. It will now be narrowing its scope to focus in on preparing for and responding to epidemics and outbreaks. But for decades, the CDC has done so much more than that, from chronic diseases to overdose deaths. It's unclear what exactly happens to those programs now, and it's also unclear what the full impact of these cuts will be with.
Still uncertain. Rachel Scott, thank you. Now to King Charles canceling all of his events today after being hospitalized briefly relating to his ongoing cancer treatments. Our chief international correspondent James Longman is at Buckingham Palace with the latest. James, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. The palace announced late last night that King Charles was taken to the hospital briefly after experiencing side effects from his ongoing cancer treatment. Now, they're calling these side effects temporary, but they must have been pretty serious because he was in the hospital for a brief period of observation. Now, palace sources called this just a bump in the road, but it does mean that all his events today have been cancelled as a precautionary measure. We're told that after that hospital visit, he came straight back to work, back to his study. What that looks like more broadly with his cancer diagnosis, he was given that diagnosis some time ago. It was made public in February, and then he came straight back to work for a pretty packed schedule of events. Just last week, he was in Northern Ireland with Queen Camilla. Next week, he has a state visit to Italy planned. We're told that that is still very much in the diary. One of the last times we saw him was on Wednesday night for a reception at Buckingham Palace. Actually, just a few moments ago, we heard that he just left Clarence House, just not far from where I am now, heading out to the country for the weekend. But we have never been told what kind of cancer he has, nor what treatment he's receiving. Lindsay?
All right, James, we know you'll keep us posted. Thanks so much. Now to the latest on the Trump administration's immigration crackdown spreading to college campuses as federal agents take action to detain and deport foreign students across the country. Our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, has the latest. Good morning, Aaron.
And good morning to you, Lindsay. This is raising alarms on campuses across the country, but the Trump administration is signaling it's only the beginning. This morning, the Trump administration is targeting a half-dozen international students as part of a crackdown on pro-Palestinian campus activism. The latest, Alireza Daroudi, an Iranian graduate student at the University of Alabama. The Department of Homeland Security saying this individual posed significant national security concerns, though his attorney told ABC News he knows of none, and said Daroudi is pursuing a doctorate in mechanical engineering. His detention followed this arrest of Tufts University doctoral student Rumeysa Öztürk. Federal agents in hoodies and masks surrounding the Turkish national, placing her in handcuffs and leading her away. This morning, she's in an immigration detention facility in Louisiana after being accused of engaging in activities in support of Hamas. Öztürk, a Fulbright scholar, co-wrote this op-ed criticizing Tufts for failing to recognize Palestinian genocide. Hamas is not mentioned.
She makes sure that she doesn't offend anyone, let alone, possibly incite violence. She is not that person. She's not aggressive.
No criminal charges have been filed against any of the detained students. Their right to free speech is protected, but the administration says their right to be in the country is not.
Every time I find one of these lunatics, I take away their visa.
The courts have not weighed in on the administration's approach, which experts say is unprecedented.
I have not seen before the kinds of aggressive tactics ICE is now taking to apprehend students in their dormitories on campus or near campus for immigration enforcement types of actions.
And later this morning, Rebecca, a judge in Newark, New Jersey, is going to take up the case of detained Columbia University graduate Mahmoud Khalil, whose lawyers say is being held unlawfully. The administration says Khalil poses a risk to foreign policy because of his organization of protests against Israel. Rebecca.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Okay, guys, we're going to shift gears now, and we're going to go to March Madness and the excitement overnight. 4 teams moving on to the Elite 8, and Will Reeve is here with all the action in your bracket.
I sure am. There's still a lot of red.
Yeah, there is a lot of red.
Elite 8 team still alive, but don't worry about me. Let's talk about the games, because last night had a bit of everything. Superstars living up to the hype, a 3-point display for the record books, a comeback for the ages, and that was just the first half of the Sweet 16.
Back and forth in a great shootout.
Overnight in the men's NCAA tournament, Arkansas's dream run coming to an end after a thrilling overtime win by Texas Tech.
Texas Tech has won!
The Red Raiders mounting the second largest comeback ever in the Sweet 16. This bucket from Darian Williams in the final seconds, tying it up.
Williams to tie a 3. Yeah!
Williams again in OT with the game winner.
Williams corkscrews up, off, and down!
The Red Raiders moving on to the Elite 8.
I got about 30 to 40 family and friends here, so it was just great to see their faces.
The first game of the night was one for the record books.
Sears for 3. Another one's good.
A tournament record 25 3-pointers from Alabama. Stars Aiden Holloway and Chris Youngblood and Mark Sears cooking from deep.
Youngblood hits a corner three.
The Crimson Tide blowing out BYU by 25.
Caleb Love for three. Got it.
And the marquee game of the night, Duke, Arizona, living up to the hype.
Pushing, looks at the clock, fires a three. Down it goes. Cooper flag beats the buzzer.
Duke advancing in consecutive years.
And number one, Florida also dominated Maryland. So 4 of the Elite 8 teams are locked. The next 4 games are tonight. And the women's Sweet 16 begins tonight. Duke UNC, 2:30 on ESPN, and then it rolls on all night.
Who do you have?
In what? Well, I had USC, but then Juju Watkins goes down with the injury.
Yeah,
So I'm saying
that was
UConn.
so sad.
I don't know.
But
Paige Beckers.
Your Elite Eight's still looking pretty good too, right?
6 of 8 is okay.
I'm in
Final
the same
4 is still
spot.
alive. All right, we're
staying alive.
We'll continue comparing them.
Go.
Thanks.
Thank you, Will.
You got
Appreciate it. All right, coming up here, the Maui doctor charged with trying to kill his wife by pushing her off a cliff faces a judge for the first time.
And Trevor Alt has the latest on the return of Fire Festival. Hey, Trevor.
Hey, Rebecca. So the original Fire Fest was a felonious disaster. Well, the founder now is making some big luxury promises once again. But there are a parade of red flags you should know about. I have the details coming up, Lindsay.
All right, thanks so much, Trevor. And new at 7:30, a parole board rules on the woman behind bars for killing singer Selena 30 years ago.
And coming up, Will, you have a lot more ahead for us.
I sure do. The Paul brothers, Logan and Jake, you either love them or hate them, and they like it that way. I sat down with them to talk about their new reality show and a whole lot more. It was a fascinating conversation and a window into their world. We'll be right back.
We do have another surprise. So Sam, please, with the horsepower, step on it. That is your car. Hertz Car Sales heard all about you. They are giving your family.
Wow, welcome back to GMA. Talk about iconic, Sam.
Yes.
You in the RAV4.
You were letting the horse
So I may have made air on that speed bump, but I was trying to slow down. So I feel like the wheels left the ground for a minute. Maybe
You
it's
had to
just
make
me.
an entrance.
But it was soaring, and it was for such a great cause.
Oh,
You there with
she
all of these wonderful people in Asheville, North Carolina, gave away the car to a woman who had just
Look at this reaction.
She had
Beautiful
such a
moment.
great reaction.
And it very real for Brittany, who couldn't even remember all the trauma that she had been through because she had been helping so many other families and her town. Her family, the boys, they're just wonderful people, just captured by how amazing these people are in North Carolina.
And Sam, you will always be our maverick, right? Yes. Thank you. It was a great moment.
It really
great
was,
job
Sam.
there in Asheville, too. But first, new at 7:30 this morning, 2 Americans are recovering. They are among 5 people that were attacked in Amsterdam in a mass stabbing at a popular tourist spot. A suspect is now under arrest. Also, 6 people, including 2 children, are dead in a tourist submarine disaster. The sub carrying 50 people sank in the Red Sea waters off of Egypt. The investigation is now underway.
Plus, the woman who killed singer Selena has been denied parole. Yolanda Saldivar has been in prison for 30 years for the murder and was up for parole for the first time. A panel of the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles found that she continues to pose a threat to public safety. Selena's family says that they are grateful. And it was a wild finish to the Bulls-Lakers game with 3 lead changes in the final 10 seconds. First, the Bulls stole the ball, hit a 3 for the lead. The Lakers got the ball back. They take the lead on the next play, but LA left too much time on the clock for this. Do we have it here? Trying to wait for it.
Is that
Wow. Half-court buzzer
Gotta be
beat by
kidding
Josh Giddey for the win. What a moment.
Yeah. That is a finish for sure. All right, do turn now to the doctor making his first court appearance, accused of trying to kill his wife by pushing her off a cliff while hiking in Hawaii. And authorities say he didn't stop there. Our chief national correspondent Matt Gutman joins us with that story. Matt, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Whit. No, police say he didn't stop there. They say the anesthesiologist became enraged and bashed his wife's head with a rock, even tried to inject her with some unknown liquid. Thankfully, she survived, but he was in court yesterday where he faced attempted murder charges and where bail was set at $5 million, one of the highest ever set by a judge in Hawaii. Maui doctor behind bars, charged with the attempted murder of his wife.
The court will confirm bail at $5 million.
Gerhard and Ariel Koenig were hiking the scenic Palipuka Trail near Honolulu on Monday. According to the court documents, Koenig's wife Ariel told authorities he wanted to take a selfie with her close to the edge of the cliff, but she felt uncomfortable being so close to the trail's 1,000-foot drop-off to the ocean. The documents say when she refused, he pushed her into the bushes and they began to struggle. The documents say he picked up a rock and struck her in the head approximately 10 times and slammed her face into the ground. The court documents say she called for help, saying, "He's trying to kill me," before Koenig allegedly pulled 2 syringes from his bag and tried to inject her with an unknown substance. His wife Ariel was then able to crawl over to 2 witnesses. Dr. Koenig, an anesthesiologist, then fled into the park. But Ariel Koenig survived the alleged attack and was taken to a hospital in critical condition with injuries to her face and head. Police putting out this bolo for him, saying Koenig was wanted for attempted murder, and after a 6-hour manhunt and chase, Koenig finally taken into custody after a brief foot pursuit. Now the 46-year-old behind bars awaiting a preliminary hearing set for next week.
Thank you.
The doctor had worked as an independent contractor at Maui Health until this week. Maui Health saying in a statement, Dr. Koenig's medical staff privileges at Maui Memorial Medical Center have been suspended pending investigation. Now, Koenig will be back in court on Monday, and under Hawaii law, he could face life in prison with the possibility of parole if convicted. It's also possible that prosecutors could add to the charges as they build their case against him. So far, he has not entered a plea, Lindsay.
All right, Matt, thanks so much. Now to the latest on the Fyre Festival reboot that is in the works. The original was a disaster that landed creator Billy McFarland behind bars. Now he's out. He insists that everything is on track this time. Trevor Alt is here with this story. We know that the location has already changed, and as Aaron Katursky aptly described this one is straight out of the Fool Me Once department.
Absolutely. Fool me twice, though, shame on me. So we're approaching with a healthy dose of skepticism here. But Firefest founder Billy McFarland insists, though he is a convicted felon, that Firefest 2 is the real deal, for real this time.
His first attempt at a massive luxury music festival was an astonishing, fraudulent failure. But overnight, Billy McFarland, the businessman behind Fyre Festival, is back once again making big promises, this time for Firefest 2.
Fyre Festival 2 is about the life-changing relationships and building core memories.
The original 2017 Fyre Fest promised thousands of excited concert goers a weekend of major pop music shows and luxury accommodations, only to strand them on an island in the Bahamas with cots, soggy cheese sandwiches, and widespread misery, after which McFarland was sentenced to 6 years in federal prison for wire fraud. Now, the terms of his probation keep him from leaving southern New York. So in a Zoom press conference Thursday, McFarland promised this festival will deliver, saying it will appeal to those who wish to live like Jack Sparrow or Lara Croft for 3 days, and that Firefest 2 is about standing up for what you believe to be true. But there are questions about what's actually true. Last month, he claimed the festival would be held on Mexico's Isla Mujeres, only for officials there to say, as far as they knew, the event didn't exist. McFarland now says the festival will be held in Playa del Carmen 2 months from now, with room for 1,800 guests who can choose between several 5-star resorts. He also claims there will be 40 musical performances, though so far the only one confirmed is controversial retired NFL player Antonio Brown, though it's not clear what he would be performing. Tickets are already on sale, with prices ranging from $1,400 all the way up to $1.1 million.
That sounds like a good deal, right? Yes. McFarland's business partner says the music acts are going to be announced next week. Meantime, it's been reported the terms of the tickets do have many stipulations, including that most of these events can be canceled and there are no refunds.
Are you going to be traveling?
I'm trying to find $1.1 million for the Prometheus God of Fire package.
Yes. Core memory, your money.
Yeah, great.
Bye.
Yeah.
Live like Jack Sparrow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, with concerns over the safety of the personal data of people who have had their DNA tested with 23andMe, now that the company has filed for bankruptcy. And Whit, this is a very personal story for you.
Yes, buckle up. It gets complicated here when it comes to my family. So yes, years ago, I took a DNA test on 23andMe and unraveled a family mystery completely by accident. Now, like millions of other customers, members of my family, and especially my dad, are wrestling with the difficult decision of whether to delete our data for good.
What does DNA even stand for anyway?
This morning, the fate of DNA testing company 23andMe hangs in the balance after filing for bankruptcy, leaving many of its millions of customers scrambling to erase their profiles and data.
This bankruptcy announcement is certainly a privacy nightmare for consumers.
Some state officials, like California's Attorney General, telling customers to consider their rights, directing them to delete their data and ask the company to destroy any samples of genetic material.
Companies have anywhere between 30 to 45 days to delete the data. It's so important to do it now before this data changes hands.
The company, once a genealogy pioneer, known for those saliva-based sample kits, identifying genetic health risks and most notably, connecting long-lost relatives.
23andMe data.
Back in 2014, my own test unlocking a family bombshell. My father, Steve, was adopted. We knew nothing about his biological parents until my DNA linked with a close relative on 23andMe, who turned out to be my dad's brother.
My DNA test was that missing link.
It was the missing link. And that's the key thing.
This was the moment my dad and his brother Bear Backer met for the first time.
Long time no see.
7 years.
How are you? Ooh, I heard that back crack. How are you, brother? Good. Wow.
Over the years, that discovery led to another brother and possible sister on my grandmother's side, and just recently, 2 more brothers on my grandfather's side.
How would you characterize the reward that this information has brought to you in your life?
Well, like I say, most adopted people at some point or another wonder what's out there. And then you find that you have a brother, you learn about who your mother was. It sort of rounds out the feeling about who you are as a person.
But now, 23andMe users with similar stories of family connection are facing the difficult decision to remove the data that led to those breakthroughs and bonds yet to be made.
It does make me sad because it means that a lot of people who would have had the experience that I had won't have it because people just won't sign up for this stuff.
And while I decided to erase my data,
your data has been deleted.
My dad feels differently.
I'm not going to delete my data. For the handful of people that are really seeking information, this is the only way you're going to get it.
Still love seeing that video, by the way. In the bankruptcy filing, 23andMe insists there will be no changes to the way it protects consumer data. And throughout the sale process, for complete instructions, you can go to this account here. We have a QR code right there on the screen if you want to go ahead and delete your account and your data. But as my dad pointed out here, for him, he's just not ready to close this chapter on this beautiful family story.
And it is a beautiful story, and we really appreciate you for sharing it publicly, Whit. Like, really, really appreciate you're going to help so many people, but it is complicated.
Exactly.
It's complicated for people making these decisions.
Yeah, and part of the thing is, what do people do now, right?
Yeah.
Some people are going to stay with 23andMe if they can, maybe see what happens. People like my dad, despite the risks. Others will go to other companies like maybe Ancestry.com and others. But my dad made a good point. His concern is this is going to scare people from wanting to submit this type of DNA in the future. That will shrink the pool of potential ancestors and limit these wonderful connections that people could have in the future.
Yeah. Also, God, what a great story. And also for medical research. Now with our play of the day, opening day is play of the day. I have a question. Do all teams play on opening day?
28 of the 30 played yesterday, but the season has begun, and Sam, baseball is in our DNA.
Nicely done.
Opening day, everyone, was a good day. See, look, Ice Cube was there. The LA icon rolling out the Dodgers World Series trophy ahead of their first home game of the year. They already played 2 in Japan. Doesn't matter where Shohei Ohtani is, he's going to hit home runs. Dodgers beat the Tigers and stay undefeated. The first game of opening day was Yankees-Brewers. The first batter for the Yankees was Austin Wells. and he's the first catcher ever to bat leadoff for the Yankees, and his first hit of the season was a home run. The Yankees win. Before the game, Aaron Judge making this young fan a winner out in right field with a souvenir. And J.C. Escara is an Uber driver, or was an Uber driver. He took an Uber to the stadium. Lots going on opening day and here at GMA, guys.
You got a beautiful microphone.
Yes.
Home run.
Well done, Will.
You got it.
By the way, Lori Bergamotto's here with the best of spring sales. Hey, Lori.
Hey, here we go. Rebecca, you probably know these, and so do a lot of parents out there. Picasso Tiles. This is the magnetic tile building set that makes STEM learning feel like play. Originally $49.99. They're over 50% off at $23.70. And next, I'll have an exclusive on a popular denim brand. We will be right back.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Fire and floods across the South. Extreme record-breaking flooding in Texas. The life-threatening emergency right now as wildfires rage in the Carolinas. Thousands of acres scorched, plus the incoming cross-country storm. Sam Champion is tracking it all.
Cruise nightmare. The man airlifted from hundreds of miles off the coast of Hawaii after suffering multiple strokes tells his story as he's reunited with the Coast Guard who saved him, only on GMA.
Logan and Jake Paul,
Look, we're polarizing, man.
the superstar content creators on their new reality show, and why America just can't seem to get enough of them. We always love talking to Lori Bergamotto. She's here for Deal Drop Days with the best bargains for those big spring sales before they end this weekend. That is straight ahead.
We got the conveyor belt and everything this morning. But first, a look at the top stories breaking at 8, starting with the floods and fire. A flash flood emergency declared overnight in parts of southern Texas. Let's go back to Sam Champion with a look at that. Sam, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Whit. Super dangerous, very scary for these folks. I'm talking about south of Houston, south of Corpus Christi, in this very southern tip of Texas. At least 50 water rescues coming, trying to save people out of this high water. So we had about 14 inches of rain in some parts of Harlingen, Texas, around that area. This is because there's a warm front that's straddling that area. So these storms are just coming out of Mexico and running across there. There's another 2 to 4 inches of rain expected here. So where is this going? Because we've got some flood watches that are already out in Louisiana. This rain is making a break across the Gulf. It gets into southern Louisiana there. It will be enough rain to cause a little bit of flooding. So we've got to watch that very carefully. And look at the smoke in North Carolina. We were just there talking about recovering from hurricane damage, and now the smoke from these fires is all the way into that area. High fire danger in this because it's dry, but also the wind direction. Want to show you quickly where the winds are the next 2 days, up to 30 miles per hour in these wind gusts. Is there rain coming? There's 2 shots, one Sunday, also another one on Monday. Guys?
All right, and we hope they make those shots. Sam, thank you. We're going to turn now to breaking news overseas. A powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake rocking Bangkok. Let's go back to our foreign correspondent, Britt Clennett. Good morning again, Britt.
Hi, Rebecca. Well, this was a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake which struck Myanmar and rattled the Thai capital city of Bangkok, where 70 construction workers are now missing when a high-rise building collapsed to the ground. That 30-story skyscraper, it was still under construction, and dozens of those workers are now reportedly trapped under the rubble. At least one was killed, dozens more injured. First responders are really still working to rescue who they can, pulling injured workers out on stretchers. Video also out of Bangkok showing how the shaking actually caused water from high-rise swimming pools to cascade to the ground like waterfalls. You can also see people there frantically running out of buildings into crowds on the street. The epicenter, it was in Myanmar, where there is, of course, a civil war raging on, making it very hard to get information on the damage and really complicating emergency responses too. Our producer there, he says that the destruction is widespread and the expected casualties high, with reports of devastated buildings, a hospital with patients inside reportedly torn down. Bangkok and parts of Myanmar, they are now in a state of emergency. Fears of aftershocks still a reality as the true scale of the damage becomes more clear. Lindsay?
Our hearts certainly go out to them. Britt, thank you. Now to the cruise ship passenger who was airlifted to safety after suffering multiple strokes while hundreds of miles off the coast of Hawaii. He's speaking exclusively to ABC News, and Ariel Reshef is here with that story. Good Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you guys. You can't imagine how scary this might be, but he definitely had some guardian angels. Greg says he felt healthy and was on his way to meet his wife for lunch on that cruise hundreds of miles off the coast of Hawaii, but he suddenly collapsed. The next thing he knew, he was being rushed to the boat's small ICU, then hoisted onto a helicopter bound for Honolulu, and now he is reuniting with the heroes who saved his life.
This morning, the 72-year-old man rescued from a cruise ship after a medical emergency, speaking out.
I am very grateful that they got there and what they did.
Greg and Mary Tomensky say they were on a trip of a lifetime, a 35-day Holland America cruise across Hawaii and French Polynesia. But 10 days in, Greg suffering 4 strokes in just a few hours.
There was no question that he had to be medevaced.
The ship's medical staff calling in the Coast Guard to medevac him off the boat.
We knew definitely that what this man needed was to be in a stroke unit or a stroke center.
Greg was transported to a Honolulu hospital where he says he received life-saving care.
Hi, guys.
And now, a month after his harrowing rescue, an emotional reunion with those Coast Guard pilots.
Thank you very much.
It's a very rare opportunity that we get to meet the people we help.
Well, it's our pleasure. If you have any complaints about the hoisting or the flying, though, he was the one doing it all. So.
Might have been a rocky road up, but I think he's grateful. Greg finally returned to Wisconsin from Hawaii earlier this week. He says he is on the road to recovery and full of gratitude, as you can imagine.
What about that reunion, too?
Yes,
very
so
sweet.
Glad to hear that happy ending there.
Yes.
All right, Ariel, thank you. Coming up in our GMA morning menu, Logan and Jake Paul, they know you either love or hate them, and they like it that way. They tell us about their new reality show.
Also ahead, Tamsin Fadal is here to tell us all about the book that Halle Berry calls the Menopause Bible.
Plus, Lori Bergamotto is here with Deal Drop Days, the best of the spring sales before they end this weekend. She's got the conveyor belt. Lori, you've got another deal to share.
That's right, Whit. Macy's has huge bargains on classic denim from Levi's jeans and jean jackets. Up to 30% off. These are starting at less than $50. I have much more ahead with a beauty bargain that's just $4.
I remember
Now,
Levi's. I've got some Levi's. Plus, I'm having all of my dreams come true right now. Matt Bomer, Nathan Lane are here to talk about their brand new show. It's, would you call it the spiritual sister of the Golden Girls?
Sure.
Why not?
You just did.
Come on, Dr. Theater, let's go.
Yeah, it's the spiritual sister of the Golden Girl.
We'll have more. We'll be right back. Stay with us on GMA.
Back now with our GMA cover story, Logan and Jake Paul. The brothers skyrocket to fame on social media, stepped into the ring as a professional boxer and wrestler, and now they're taking on the world of reality TV. Will Reeve had a chance to talk with them. Will, they are described as hitting the limits of the manosphere.
They are. Hello again, Linsey. From the outside, the Paul brothers' lives look like chaos, and it can also look like chaos from the inside, which is where Logan and Jake Paul take us in their new reality show. Every moment of their abnormal lives documented, which is how it's been since they were teenagers. They grew up on the internet as shaped by it as they themselves shaped it. It's where content is king, and they are the kings of content, whether you love them or loathe them.
Look, we're polarizing, man. It's either I'm rocking with those guys, I see the hustle, I respect it, or you could bleep it. Screw them. There's not really any in between.
Plus, you want someone to have an opinion on you. If they don't, then that's when you're losing.
Love them or hate them, Logan and Jake Paul have made winning careers out of content.
What is your secret sauce?
I would say the fact that it's in our blood and DNA.
Their sometimes volatile relationship maximized for views and served up to their combined audience of more than 100 million followers across social media platforms.
Logan, how would you describe Jake?
It's so handsome, humble.
He is an entertainment enigma who cannot be stopped in pursuing his goals.
That was a good answer. Your turn.
Hunk of meat.
No, that's my guy.
No, I would say he's a genius creator with one of the best work ethics in the world. So nice. This is great. We should do this more often.
Yeah, you guys have had some tough moments. How would you describe your relationship?
I would say it's amazing now, but there's still rocky moments. We're competitive.
Jake and I have always said we're yin and yang, like the exact same and the exact opposite. We're both incredibly stubborn at times. It's got to be our way. It can get pretty volatile when it gets volatile.
But it makes for great TV.
Their new reality show, Paul American.
And now it's time for America to meet our family.
Introducing their whole family to the world. Cameras rolling nonstop as they expand their entertainment empire.
Part of the reason we're doing the show now is because we feel like we don't have to manufacture content like we used to.
The brothers' romantic relationship's a major focal point as Jake prepared to go head-to-head for his record-breaking bout with Mike Tyson, and Logan braced for fatherhood.
This baby opened up a gentle side of the Pauls.
Oh, it's smelly.
How's fatherhood?
All the chaos in my brain stops and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm your dad and you're my daughter.
Logan is also the founder of the billion-dollar beverage brand Prime. It's wildly popular with kids, but the brand's energy line has drawn concern for its caffeine content.
You have a kid of your own now. Has your perspective changed on how beverages or things generally are marketed to kids?
Well, I firmly believe that if caffeine is as problematic as some of the regulatory bodies say, it should be regulated at the point of purchase, just like alcohol is, right? At Prime, we have two products. We tried to delineate. Prime Energy is for 18 plus. It's marketed that way on all of our posts. And in that way, yeah, I do think that it's important.
Do you care to be liked?
I really don't care. Like, I'm just so detached from it.
Attention is the currency. Being universally liked is not realistic. It's just not. I think we both gave up the idea of seeking validation and approval from millions of strangers a long time ago.
Do you have any regrets?
No regrets, brother.
It's tattooed on him. So Jake confirmed no regrets. Logan, do you have any regrets?
I do. And it's such a hard question because we're in such a good spot now, and like, you know, you think if some things changed in the past, what would the present look like?
Whatever's gotten in our way, it hasn't stopped us from wanting to accomplish more and chase our dreams and chase our goals and do it together.
Logan told me the brothers have sacrificed their personal well-being for the sake of entertainment, and he seemed to only be partly exaggerating. I remarked that struck me as sad and wondered, is the fame and fortune worth it? And Logan said that's just a byproduct, that they do what they do because it's what they love, that they have a calling to document their lives. New episodes of Paul American debut Thursdays on Max. Rebecca?
All right, Will, nice work. From the outer limits of the manosphere to menopause, this is morning television. And for more than 1 billion women currently in menopause, there is a new book, How to Menopause, Take Charge of Your Health, Reclaim Your Life, and Feel Even Better Than Before. And author and award-winning, Emmy award-winning journalist Tamsen Fadal is here to tell us all about the book that Halle Berry calls the Menopause Bible. Welcome. It is so great to see you, Tamsen.
Thank you.
You've really started this conversation in so many ways that we weren't having. And part of it started with you. You weren't really sure what was going on when it began for you.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had never heard the word perimenopause, and menopause seemed like something that was far off. I was a news anchor in New York City, and I was doing the news, and I wound up getting a very intense hot flash and my heart racing, and I ended up on the floor of the ladies' bathroom during a live broadcast.
And what did you think was happening?
I had no idea. You know, my heart was the concern because it was racing. I thought, what is going on with me? Am I having a heart attack? Is this a panic attack? What is it? I went doctor to doctor after that, and I wound up getting a note in my patient portal that had 4 words in it: in menopause, any questions? That was it. That was the diagnosis. That's how I found out what was going on, and I haven't stopped asking questions about it.
Yeah, and I think it's those questions we were just talking off camera about the importance and why you're doing this. You want women to advocate for themselves.
Absolutely, we have to. You know, doctors, to their own admission, don't get a lot of training on this in medical school. So women walk in, they feel like they're not seen, they feel dismissed, they feel confused, and it's not okay for women to go anywhere from 4 to 10 years feeling shame and frustration and not feeling right.
And some of those symptoms of not feeling right in perimenopause, for example, what are we looking for?
Yeah, let's talk about that because I think it's really, really important. I wanted to write How to Menopause because we needed a girlfriend's guide to do it, right? I'm not a doctor, I'm a journalist. But if you look at some of these symptoms that start, they can be 4 to 10 years before you actually hit menopause.
A long time.
It's a really long time. And we're at the height of our career, so we're talking about changes in our periods. We're talking about low libido or painful sex, which sometimes is embarrassing to talk about. We're talking about brain fog, which is where you're talking and all of a sudden you forget. I couldn't have had this conversation with you 5 years ago. We're talking about weight changes, sleep disturbances, even body odor changes. It can be really embarrassing.
Well, and you mentioned at the height of our career, that is part of the complexity in all of this because you're thriving in some ways and then you're also just trying to get by in others.
It's so true. You're trying to get by, you're trying to go through the day, you're juggling a lot, whether you're juggling kids or parents or changes in your relationship or your job. And now you're going sleepless nights and not feeling like yourself. And I hear from one woman after another saying, I just don't feel like myself anymore.
Okay, so we have a number of viewer questions, but one I want to get to is how can perimenopausal and menopausal women manage stress?
Oh, it's such a good question. Perimenopause can start at your late 30s, early 40s and go for quite a while. And so stress management is so important in all of this. I mean, one of the big things that I always talk about is the fact that you want to give yourself permission and know what's going on and have a plan, a menopause plan. And that's why I want to get out there and educate and teach as many women as possible so they know what to expect because it's so important. Once you have that plan, this is so simple, but take a walk. I don't mean a 30-minute walk, an hour walk. I'm saying like get up and walk away if you are feeling overwhelmed. Irritability and rage can be two of those big symptoms during this time. It can be really, really frustrating. And then I would say remind yourself it's going to be okay because it is. I promise there is really a lot of hope and excitement on the other side of this. We have a lot of amazing years. We have another half of our life after this. And finally, if you meditate or do yoga or have some kind of practice like that, I think that's really important to help bring those stress levels down.
Tamsen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are living proof that there's better years ahead.
I promise we're going to get everybody there. Thank you.
Okay, How to Menopause is available now, and you can catch Tamsen on the Oprah Winfrey special, The Menopause Revolution. It's on Monday night, right here on ABC.
All right, folks, now to deal drop days this spring. Major retailers such as Amazon, Walmart, Kohl's, Macy's, don't break anything, Sam, not yet, and Target, they are battling for your dollar with huge sales.
If it wasn't deal drop days, could I do this? All right, big sales end this weekend. So sad, but GMA Lifestyle contributor Lori Bergamato is here with some of the biggest and best bargains that you can still grab right now.
That's right.
How are you, lady?
I'm good. You guys ready to shop?
Let's do it. Let's rock and roll.
All right, let's send that first deal
First
in.
deal's coming in hot down the conveyor belt.
Okay,
Yeah.
so this one, you guys, is from Macy's, and this is part of their spring VIP sale, which starts today. It ends April 6th, but you're going to want to click today because a lot of these things sell out. So they are the hotel collection. Go ahead and feel that, Sam. Doesn't that feel nice?
It does feel nice. It's nice.
This is Supima cotton.
Slick.
Hotel collection. This is some of their softest, most luxurious. The thread count on this is 680, which is what you guys want.
Sam doesn't do anything less than 670, so, you know.
Well, let me tell you the deal on this. Originally $460 to $500, but today $250 to $276. 40 to 50% off.
Sal, do I push this out of the way now? Is that what happens? All right.
Okay, next up from Amazon, you guys, who's having their spring sale. So many good things going on right there. High-waisted leggings. You guys are going to be blown away by this deal.
My low-waisted ones are so uncomfortable.
Yes. Sam, listen, we've got a capri for you. Perfect for you, Sam. So these are from Amazon. It's their #1 best-selling legging compression. They have capri, they have no pocket, they have 2-pocket. The original price on this is $19.99. The new price, just $8.49.
Get out of here.
That's up to 58% off.
That's phenomenal. They go away
for
now.
running on Copacabana. There you go, right, Sam? Let's bring in the next one here.
Okay, this is from Sephora at Kohl's. So there are a lot of great beauty deals to be had. And where else would you go but Sephora at Kohl's? They have some really great deals on Makeup Forever, on their Sephora collection, which is a makeup artist insider fave. Fenty, that's Rihanna's line.
Oh yeah, everyone knows that.
Everybody loves that, right? And this is Kohl's Spring Savings event, and there's so many great deals. This will end on Sunday, so you're gonna definitely wanna check that out. Up to 75% off on beauty products, and these start at $16, and you can now get something here for just $4. It's
Where can you buy anything for $4?
For $4, I know. You can get some great beauty products.
All right, let's move this one.
Now, this one I'm
Okay.
excited because your husband Nick and I have kind of a bromance going
They
on,
do.
and I feel
America,
like
it's true.
we should hit
It's
the
out.
pickleball court.
Yes, and this would be perfect. Maybe Sam and I will purchase these for you.
I'll watch.
And take you guys on. We challenge them.
Wait,
Sam.
Lori.
Yeah, come on, Sam.
You know I'm not athletic. Let's go. All right.
Okay, so Franklin paddles. These come in 13 millimeter, 16 millimeter. April is National Pickleball Month, everyone.
Okay.
So get involved, guys.
We already knew that, of course.
And
but
these are USA Pickleball certified. The deal here, original price $100, 47% off, $52.99.
Those are the
on
paddliest
Amazon.
paddles I have ever seen.
There
The
you
backhand.
go.
All right,
Oh
here
my
we go.
gosh, this one is so good, you guys. From Walmart, Apple never goes on sale, right?
Oh, wow.
This is the Apple Watch Series 10. Original price $399, $100 off. $299.
It's Witt's watch.
It's like mine.
There you go.
But smaller.
He paid a lot more.
Yeah, there you go. And what's so great about this, it has all the health, fitness, sleep trackers. It's Apple for 25% off. You got to get that deal at Walmart.
That's a deal.
Excellent.
So really
Okay.
great. And then I think we have one more, you guys. Spring cleaning time. So this is from Shark. It's a cordless vacuum. We found this on Amazon. This is super high rated. Shark is an industry leader. What people loved about this, it's not only great on any surface. If you have pets, I know you always have pets.
Yeah, oh yeah, we got
Many
a
of them,
foster
right?
puppy right now.
This is
He's a
great
shedder.
for any pet hair. So, and also great in a car. Lots of different attachments. Original price $349.99. 43% off, $199.99.
Get that spring cleaning in.
Yeah, so lots of great deals to be had.
Yes. Lori, as always, thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Really
Whit.
appreciate it. And you can go to goodmorningamerica.com to find all of these offers and some bonus bargains as well. Coming up here, Nathan Lane and Matt Bomer are here to tell us all about their brand new show.
I want your watch.
You can get the deal.
Yeah, see right
Scan
there.
that QR code.
Ticks, frisch, ginkgo, vertigo, Lipschitz, ticks, frisch, ginkgo, vertigo, Lipschitz. He had it coming. He had it coming. He only had himself to blame. If you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, I bet you would have done the same. Bring it home, girls!
Doesn't everybody go immediately into Chicago after playing a game? Welcome back. That was multi-talented actors Nathan Lane and Matt Bomer in their new show, Mid-Century Modern. Now, that was their take on the Cell Black Tango from Chicago. Clearly. Now they're going to join us this morning. Guys, welcome. I'm so happy to have you
Thanks
guys.
very much.
So we just saw this, but set me up with the premise of the show. How do you all get in the same house?
It opens at a funeral, and always good for comedy. And we've lost a very close friend. This is a close-knit group of friends, played by Matt Bomer and Nathan Lee Graham, and they come back to my house. I live in Palm Springs with my mother.
As one would.
As one would.
He's a lingerie scion.
I'm a very successful manufacturer of women's bras. Anyway, we come back to my house and we're having a great time, and I suggest that this could be the rest of our lives, and they should move in with me, and then hijinks ensue.
As we just saw.
So it's a documentary.
Right, exactly. So it's a very serious show. I want to read how, Matt, your character was described, and I'll never get this right. Described as being pure of heart, hard of body, and soft of head.
Sure.
What do you want to?
Yeah. What? That's pretty spot on. I like to think of him as a golden retriever. I mean, he has an unbelievable sense of enthusiasm about everything, and a sense of positivity, even if he has to skim over some of the details. Some things go over his head voluntarily, and some things not so voluntarily. But he came from a Mormon background, and there are aspects of that he's never really let go of. That sense of positivity and family and community.
As many people have talked about this show with like Golden Girls, to me that seems like the Betty White, kind of like smart but play dumb kind of character.
Sure, I think there are aspects of that. There's Woody Boyd from Cheers.
Absolutely.
There's Edith Bunker from All in the Family. He comes from a long line of sitcom ditzes. And I'm honored to even be mentioned in the same breath as Betty White, because she did that to perfection.
She really did. Nathan, how did you feel knowing Matt was being cast for this role?
Well, when it was sort of pitched as the Golden Girls, and then they suggested Matt for this part, and I thought, well, am I his grandfather? What's happened to the Golden Girls? And then, the show is really now about gay men at different stages of their lives, and we also, the wonderful Nathan Lee Graham is just fantastic in this.
Yes,
and Matt is sort of the revelation because he's, showing his brilliant comedy side in this show.
Now, I want to ask, is there singing involved in this show? Because, we saw that. Do you get to stretch your legs in this show and do kind of all the characters you do?
No.
We had a little Donnie and Marie moment.
Yes, his character is obsessed with Donnie Osmond. No, that's a sort of a little set piece where we're all, putting our pills and then wind up singing. But no, there isn't.
Again,
no,
Monday, Tuesday,
There's
Wednesday.
not a lot of, no, there's not a lot of singing. If you're looking for singing, this isn't the show. American Idol is. This is a comedy.
You are roommates in this comedy.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you haven't had a roommate for a while. What kind of roommate are you?
Look, I'm really good at creating a mess, but I'm really good at cleaning it up too. So I guess I'm okay.
You're a good
roommate. At the end of the day.
Nathan?
Well, I'm married, so yes, I have a roommate.
Technically.
I think I'm very neat. I'm very clean.
Surprise.
I'm very hygienic. Yeah. I'm always
very hygienic.
I am. And no, I think
we have hand sanitizer for after the interview.
I think I'm very good at doing that. It's so early.
I feel
I'm
like
still thinking about menopause. Maybe I'm going through menopause.
Well,
because I'm getting hot flashes right now.
I feel like we do have Nathan on simmer. Like we're not getting full, but he's a national treasure to me, and I don't want to embarrass him by talking about it. But what are some of your favorite Nathan Lane moments?
Oh my God!
Come on, let's go.
He was so formative to me as a creative person. I'm a pre-Birdcage fan. I was a huge fan of his work in the theater when I was a kid growing up. He was someone I looked to as an inspiration and something maybe I could get to do someday.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that I get to work with him and the incredible Nathan Lee Graham and may she rest in peace, the beautiful and legendary Linda Lavin on this show.
We haven't mentioned Linda yet.
I was pinching myself every day, truly.
You can feel
he's
that.
So generous of spirit, as you can tell. It was truly like he and Linda both.
When he wakes up, he's even better.
Always happy to help. I was finding my way. It was a new medium for me, so they were both always so helpful to me, and Nathan Lee as well, in terms of just finding my footing. So.
Well, you have an incredible body of work, obviously, Nathan. The Birdcage is the one that really stands out for so many people. And we heard the lines earlier this morning, very early this morning. We were all getting together. People were repeating some of their favorites.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite scene from that film?
Oh, there's a scene at a bus stop with Robin where he gives me the palimony agreement. It's a very beautiful scene.
It is.
And look, I'm always amazed that people are still talking about this movie 30 years later, but it's very moving that it's stood the test of time, and it'll always be a very special memory for me.
I can't go down Deco Drive in Miami without thinking of Ocean Drive in Miami without thinking of that film. It's just iconic. It's amazing. I loved having you here. Matt, thank you. Loved having you both as well. Thank you for sharing the stories. Mid-Century Modern premieres today on Hulu.
Now with Olivia Washington, star of the new off-Broadway smash hit called Wine in the Wilderness. Critics are calling her performance electrifying, charming, and a must-see. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Welcome.
Olivia.
Good morning.
So the reviews have been great. Your character is described as rambunctious and a messed up chick.
Yes.
Explain the play for us.
Oh, well, it takes place on the last day of the Harlem riots in 1964, and we're in Bill Jameson's apartment, who's an artist, and he's looking for his ideal model to paint, and he gets meets Tommy Fields. So, and it's
Your
not,
character.
Yes, me, and it's not who we expected her to be. So it's an unconventional love story of sorts.
Yeah. And Alice Childress, I mean, she wrote this play more than 55 years ago, but many of the themes are still relevant today.
Absolutely.
So what was it that made you want to take on this role?
I mean, the character is so incredible. She's so brave and she's so curious, and she likes to put herself in positions where she can learn and grow. And I love kind of working with characters who are multifaceted and do a hard thing in quest for making their lives better. And yeah.
Now, of course, you've just been working in London. What's it like to be back on the New York stage?
Oh my God. Well, first, I was so lucky to be able to work over there, but I went to theater school in New York, and so the goal is to always work in the city, and it's just so electrifying, and the history, and it's just been, I feel so lucky. I feel so blessed.
Speaking of working in the city, we have to point out your father, the legendary Denzel Washington, is also performing on Broadway right now in Othello.
Yeah, he is.
How special is that to be on Broadway at the same time with your dad?
Yeah, I don't think we knew how special it would be until we were able to go to each other's openings.
Oh,
and
nice.
it's kind of like, oh wow, wait, this is a very important moment, isn't it? But no, I just feel so lucky that, firstly, that they're in the city, so I can go home and my mom can make me dinner sometimes.
Nice. There is a very good perk there.
Steal his dinners, yeah.
And of course, it's not just your dad. Your mom's also an actress as well.
Yes.
Did they ever give you tips? Advice?
Absolutely. It's funny. For auditioning for colleges, I had to audition for them first.
Is that right?
I did.
Are they your harshest critics?
Indeed, but they're also my greatest support. So it's a good balance. Yes, yeah.
Well, congratulations on everything.
Thank
and
you.
I mean, with your family on Broadway together, it must be very special to be here and doing this
very
right now.
special. Yeah.
Great to have you with us,
Thank you for
Olivia.
having me.
All the best to you. Performances of Wine in the Wilderness run from now through April 13th. Let's send it back over to Sam.
All right, thanks you guys very much. So, Lindsay, last week Lara and I shared news of a sweet baby sloth born at the San Diego Zoo, and now we can exclusively reveal new footage because it's so hard to capture the slowest baby on the planet. But we got this update from his caretakers, and they say this little guy has been sampling new foods and holding them on his very own. His favorites include romaine lettuce, egg, and corn, so he's just basically 1 or 2 steps away from a Cobb salad. And he's starting to explore independently from Mom Zena, even just a step or two. But it's a very big move for a baby sloth, and the first sloth born in the zoo in 3 years. His name will be announced next month. Come on. Awfully cute.
And coming up, New York Times best-selling author Emily J. Taylor is here to tell us about GMA's Young Adult Book Club pick. Stay with us. We are back now with New York Times best-selling author Emily J. Taylor. Her newest book, The Otherwhere Post, is our GMA Young Adult Book Club pick of the month. Emily is here now. Good morning. It's great to have you. First time on GMA.
First time on GMA.
It's a warm welcome, everybody here in the studio. Yes. And by the way, congratulations, our GMA Young Adult Book Club pick of the month. For those who aren't familiar with The Otherwhere Post, tell us about the story and what inspired it.
Yeah, so this started on a trip to the mailbox, and I had this idea of what if mail wasn't ordinary? What if it could do magical things, like you could enchant a letter to be delivered to another world. And that letter, when you opened it, the ink could leap off the page and form something like a missing relative in the air. And then I came up with my main character, Maeve. Now, Maeve's father committed this horrible crime, and he destroyed countless lives. And because of it, she is terrified about anyone finding out who she is. So she moves from place to place. She uses aliases. She is afraid to get close to anyone, so no going on dates, no making friends, until one day she receives this enchanted letter. And it tells her that her father was actually innocent.
Wow, okay.
Yes, and she has to find out if it's true, so she sneaks her way into this magical school.
So there's plenty of magic and fantasy here.
Yes.
And as you came up with this idea, now, if you could send someone an enchanted letter, who would you send it to?
I would send a letter to my younger self. I was this hopeless romantic, artsy bookworm who veered a little off path on her way to becoming an author, and I would tell that young woman to take the things that she loves seriously. And I would actually enchant the letter with a memory of this exact moment. Send it to her.
Being here on Good Morning America.
Someday, yes.
Someday you're gonna make it. One of the things I was reading about your backstory, your bio, and you mentioned all the different places you've lived. Both of us from California, but you mentioned you lived in like 4 states, multiple continents. How has that shaped your storytelling?
Oh, it shapes everything. So when I was actually drafting this, I was on this trip to Edinburgh, and I remember standing on this street, looking around me at these Gothic buildings, and they had this amazing black sediment dripping down the sides, and they looked ink-stained. And it almost felt like I was standing inside of my magic system, and ideas started coming out of that, and that really shaped the romantic ink-stained feeling of the story.
And speaking of the travel, we were going back and forth, like how many states have you lived in? I think you have me beat, though, with the 2 continents.
Yes.
So you have 4 states, right?
4 states.
I had 5 plus D.C., but no other continent.
Yes.
So yes, D.C. feels like another planet sometimes, but that's a little different. So your first book, Hotel Magnifique, also a New York Times bestseller. And what is it about fantasy and magic that is so important for you to incorporate into these stories?
Oh, I feel like we live these ordinary lives, but there's something so compelling about magic. And I was always somebody who believed that things could happen in the dark corners. And yeah, I love it. It completely captivates me when I see magic in a story.
And through your writing, you're able to make those things happen.
Absolutely.
You have some very loyal fans out there, and we've been in touch with some of them. And one of them sent us a question. One reader wants to know, what's your favorite scene to write in the Otherwhere post?
Ooh, so there's so many I love, but there's this one particular moment where the love interest, he actually puts a pair of socks on my protagonist. And it's this great moment. They have this amazing tension because she can't trust anyone. So she's finally learning to trust and falling in love for the first time. And that moment just kind of encapsulates it all.
Well, Emily, congratulations
Thank
once
you.
again. And it's great to have you here on
Yes,
GMA.
thank you.
Remember, the Otherwhere post is available right now.
Big week ahead. Thanks so much for watching.
Have a great day and weekend, everybody.
Well, see you on World News. And then GMA tomorrow.
Never stop.